What is up, YouTube? My name is Trinity, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. First and foremost, I want to apologize if at any point in this video you can hear my neighbor vacuuming upstairs. She always picks the best times to decide to do all sorts of loud housework. Also, I would like to say thank you to the 3 new people who have subscribed to the channel in the last week. Thank you all so much. The support always means so much to me, not just from the new people, but from the people who keep returning to see what I have to give you guys as far as content goes. I'm literally going back to school in the spring to learn new skills that I can bring back to improve my YouTube channel, to make bigger and better content for you guys. But the fact that I already get so much support from you guys with my amateur setup and my constantly changing backgrounds and variable quality still means a lot to me, and I appreciate you all so much. Speaking of constantly changing backgrounds and delays, we're finally getting back to our Cryptids from Every State series, starting with number 36, Oklahoma. And for Oklahoma, we are going to be talking about the Oklahoma octopus, which sounds very strange considering that Oklahoma is a landlocked state. It has no access to the ocean, but that's something that makes the Oklahoma octopus all the more strange. Now, this octopus, which allegedly resides in Lake Thunderbird, Tenkiller, and Ugala, is very aggressive and contributes to the high mortality rate of swimmers. Even though there's no solid evidence for its existence, people who believe in it say it's about as big as a horse, has leathery brown skin, and of course, 8 long, strong tentacles with the strength of a 200-pound man, which is very specific, and a razor-sharp beak that allows it to grab swimmers and drag them to the depths, drowning them and then ripping them to shreds, much like a giant Pacific octopus. Now, there's probably a lot of questions about this cryptid, one of them being, how would an octopus, or several, there has to be a breeding population, get into these freshwater lakes, and how would it survive since there are no living freshwater cephalopods? The only kind of exception to this is the Atlantic brief squid, which is able to survive in brackish water, which is water that is too salty to be freshwater, but not salty enough to be seawater. But even so, that's still not a freshwater lake. As I said, there is no physical evidence for this creature's existence. But the main theory people have as to how it could have gotten there, if it does indeed exist, which I don't think so, is that it was a species that got trapped in the lakes when waters receded during a previous ice age. People say that the main evidence for this creature's existence is the high number of drownings that happen in these lakes, but I feel like jumping to giant landlocked octopus in a lake is a little presumptuous. Next, we are going to be talking about the Oregon gumbaroo. Now, it was really difficult to find a non-Bigfoot-like creature for all of the Pacific Northwest states because Bigfoot is kind of the mascot of California, Oregon, and Washington. I was going to do something called the Bat Squatch, but it essentially kind of sounded like just Bigfoot with wings, but I found something a little more interesting. The gumbaroo is apparently a very fat, hairless, bear-like creature. And when I say fat, this thing is a chonker. The only fur on its entire body is on its chin and where eyebrows would be if bears technically had eyebrows. Other than that, it is naked, with thick, black, leathery skin that is invulnerable to rocks, arrows, and even bullets. The only thing that this creature is vulnerable to is fire. Though this vulnerability can also put any nearby people in danger because it's not just vulnerable to fire, it is combustible. As in, if it's exposed to fire, it may explode. And this is also the apparent reason for the scarcity of this species, because the Pacific Northwest is known for their wildfires. Near Coos Bay, lumberjacks have apparently heard booming sounds when there are active fires in the area that don't sound like just trees burning and falling, followed shortly thereafter by the smell of burning rubber. I don't really know what's meant to be implied there. Are they saying that these bear-like creatures are kind of like the sun bears, where they don't really look very real and they may be a person in a suit? And just letting you know, yes, this is a real sun bear. This is just how fucking weird that they look. Despite being a very formidable creature, if you come upon one, however, they're apparently very slow and docile, making their dens in the burnt trees of the redwood forests. They do, however, have a voracious appetite. The few times a year that they do wake up and emerge from their dens, they can devour a horse and still be hungry. Next, we are going to be talking about the Pennsylvania gewoggle. The gewoggle is a 6-foot-tall dog or canine-like creature that is able to walk on its hind legs. But what makes it different from your typical dogman or werewolf is that its front legs are the talons of a bird and its back legs are hooved. This is apparently in order to confuse hunters and trackers that may be trying to follow it. Now, the origin of this creature is said to be tied to alleged witches. Namely, women in communities that were thought to be witches were said to summon these creatures, assumably from hell, and kind of send them in the direction of people they didn't like, though usually acting more as a nuisance or pest than an actual violent creature. These people would usually wake up to their crops being trampled, their tools missing or broken, and just strange tracks all around their property. The last sighting of this creature was apparently in 1909 at the height of the Jersey Devil Panic. Locals claimed to see strange creatures prowling the roofs of local buildings, leading newspapers to speculate that these may be gewoggles on the hunt for prey within town. And the most recent news that I could really find about it is that on July 21st of 2011, it was named Clinton County's official monster. Next is the Rhode Island Gloucester ghoul. The first sighting of this creature happened in 1839, when locals began telling bizarre stories of creatures they were seeing in the woods. Now, this thing allegedly had the body and the large curling horns of a ram. On either side of its body, however, it had wings like a bat. Instead of having hooved feet, more like a Jersey Devil, it had feet like a duck, and scales covering its body as big as clamshells that made a rattling sound when it moved around. And it had large eyes that emitted a fiery light. And according to some locals, it was either able to breathe fire or at least spit fireballs. And usually a sighting was preceded by an intense feeling of fear and anxiety. And the last state that we are going to be talking about today is South Carolina, and we're going to be talking about the Gaffney alien sighting. In 1966, 2 police officers were patrolling a rural muddy road at about 4 a.m. As they neared a bend in the road, their headlights flashed over a spherical metallic object with a brim around it. So think of kind of your stereotypical flying saucer. The craft was about 20 feet in diameter, and it had no obvious portholes or openings, and it wasn't emitting any light. The 2 officers got out of their car in order to investigate, and that's when this thing descended closer to the ground. And from the bottom, a small ladder dropped to the ground, and out crawled about a 4-foot-tall humanoid figure. This creature was wearing a metallic gold suit that reflected light when the headlights hit it. The witnesses don't remember seeing any obvious buttons or zippers on the suit, and the creature did not wear any sort of headgear or helmet. One of the officers, C. Hutchins, claimed that in the 2 to 3 minute encounter that these officers had with the creature, it spoke perfect English. It asked why the 2 were dressed alike and kind of brushed off any questions that they had for it, such as when they asked where the creature came from. The creature also told them that it would be returning to that spot in about 2 days, though it's not really confirmed whether that happened or not because I don't think the police officers went back to check it out. Allegedly, after this story began to spread, a local councilman actually went to the spot of the encounter and found footprints that they believe belonged to the alien. Though one of the witnesses said that the creature must have been standing in tall grass or something because they couldn't recall what the feet looked like. And that is everything for today, folks. I think I might just squish together the last 2 episodes and make a jumbo episode again like I did last time. Of the last 10 states we are going to be discussing. I'm really excited that I finally got through this series. This is the first official series that I did. So I'm happy I was able to keep it going, even though there was a long break between the last episode and this one. But I'm happy I finally got it done. And I do plan to be expanding this series in the future, maybe talking about the mascot creature from a bunch of different countries. I really wanted to squeeze Puerto Rico into this list, even though it is not a state, but there's so much like lore and culture there I really want to explore. That's where the origin of the chupacabra came from, but I think Puerto Rico might just deserve its own video. That being said, thank you all so much for watching this video. I always appreciate it so much. I can't believe people watch the stuff that I put out. Just because I know it's inconsistent. I know the quality is not always the best, but the fact that you like what I have to say so much that you decide to spend time out of your day where you could be doing literally anything else, and you decide to give it to me and my channel. It means a lot to me, so thank you all so much. If you want to support the channel, please consider clicking the like button and leaving a comment down below. It helps my videos get out to other spooky-minded individuals that may want to join our little community. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I upload. And finally, if you have missed any of the episodes of our Cryptids from Every State series, or you want to go back and watch them again, I will have the playlist linked at the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.